Hello and welcome to this special podcast conversation. As many of you know, Kendall and I are blessed with 4 children. We have Hannah Rose, who's 18, John Williams, 16, Joel Charles, 13, and Maddie Kay, Madison Catherine is, what's she, 10?
She's 10.
Okay, I was making sure. I knew I'd forget one age, but I got them all in there. And in just a few days, our oldest, Hannah, who is the guest on our podcast today, is going to be heading off to college. And this year, there are about 2.3 million incoming freshmen to colleges and universities all over the United States. And, you know, it's very interesting as that many kids are heading off to school. I'm really primarily concerned about one, and that's mine. And if you have a college student who's heading back to class, I'm sure you kind of feel the same way. But I wanted to kind of have the opportunity to share some of the things happening in the Hagee house that we're going through in this transition and see if you can't glean some wisdom, gain some insight, and find out that, you know, these transitions are good things. Hannah, in just a few days, you're going to start on a university campus. Where are you going? What are you studying?
I'm going to Texas A&M in College Station.
Whoop.
I know. And I'm going to be studying business and communications.
And so how many students are going to be on that campus in College Station?
So in my class alone, I have 12,000 kids. And overall at the campus, there's going to be about 40,000.
So in the incoming class, there's 12,000.
12,000.
And then on the physical campus, there's 40,000. And how many were in your graduating class at Cornerstone Christian Schools?
About 115 kids.
So we're getting ready to have a major culture shift.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you're concerned about in this transition, the shift from 115, even if you didn't hang with all 115, you knew all 115, you were a very intimate group just because of your surroundings and the environment, and now you're going into a sea of humanity.
I don't think it's a concern, but at the same time, it's different, is that finding your clique in the 12,000. Now, I wouldn't say a clique, but it's finding who you want to hang out with and who you want to be in that 12,000 of people. Because in the 115, I mean, everybody knew who I was, but I also knew who everybody else was because it was only 115 kids to keep up with. But in a sea of 12,000, it's, oh my goodness, I might never see this kid again. And he's in my first class or she's in this class, but I might never see them out of the 200 kids that are in one class.
You use the word clique. I use the word tribe.
Yes.
It's more of a biblical term. There were 12 tribes in Israel, and you can follow human history, and it's a very tribal environment. And what I know from my experience is that Solomon was pretty accurate. There's nothing new under the sun. And so the more things change, the more they stay the same. You had 115 in your graduating class from high school, and you will find a tribe in this new environment. There are a group of students at Texas A&M who value what you value, who like what you like, who do what you do, and it may take a little effort, but you'll locate them. And when you do, that becomes your crew. That becomes your tribe. And I think it's important for you and a lot of the other kids who are going off to college to, one, be patient. You don't have to be best friends with the first person that you meet, and you don't have to acclimate to whatever it is that someone else says you should do. Out of my 4 kids, you're probably the one that is most driven to please others. Like you want to know, what do you want me to do? And I'll do that. And how have you and I been working through that this past year?
I think one thing that we've been working on is learning to say no, and then also learning to have the courage to be like, hey, I'm going to do this in my life, and I'm going to influence others in the way that I lead, and I don't have to follow what you're doing.
And in order for me to help you practice that, I haven't been giving you all the answers.
No.
You've come to me this year and said, Dad, what do I do? And I've just kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, what do you want to do? And the reason for that is because you're going to be away from home in an environment where you have to make that call for yourself. And, sometimes I think parents overparent. I think we want to make all the decisions because obviously we love you, we care about you, we're concerned that you do the right thing. And what we need to do more often as you mature, I wouldn't recommend doing this with our 10-year-old, but I would do this with you as an 18-year-old. As you mature, give you the freedom and the liberty to decide. Because I know in my life, 44 years, 45 years now. Wow, halfway to 90. My goodness. 45 years in, I've learned as much, if not more, from my wrong decisions. Not that they were horrible mistakes that ruined my life, but things that if I had to go back and do it again, I'd have probably chose different. And I've learned as much, if not more, from that than I have the good advice that others gave me and I followed. Because there's something to be said about learning from your mistakes, and mistakes are going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna say, why did I do this? Why did I choose this? Why did I decide to pursue this? And that can come in a multitude of ways. I mean, I know some people say, well, this is what I'm going to go off to school and study. And then when it comes time to change their major, they feel like it's a failure.
Yeah.
Or they get in a relationship and the first person that they go on a date with, they think this is the person I'm going to marry. And then that relationship ends. And whatever it happens to be in a social setting, in an educational setting, those changes, those transitions are all part of life, which is why I think it's important that, and I say this often to you and your older brother, especially because y'all are the ones who are getting ready to face this, but Dad's big statement is to play the
long game.
Play the long game.
Yeah.
And that's what life is.
Yeah.
It's a long game. I said just a few seconds ago, I'm 45, I'm halfway to 90, which means I'm playing the long game. You could enjoy the next 4 years in small segments, semester by semester, year by year, week by week, tailgate by tailgate, event by event, party by party, and there's lots of kids that have that perspective. Or you could look at the next 4 years as an opportunity for you to build the kind of skills and character they're going to take you through the next 40 years.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I graduated in 2000 from my undergraduate degree, which was 23 years ago. Seems like yesterday. So if you're playing the long game, what are some of the things that you think you might want to look forward to getting involved in the next couple of weeks as you move off to college?
I think in playing the long game, you have to understand who you surround yourself with. That's one of the big ones. And then you also have to understand what environment you're working with and what you're living in that, because the environment that you have is the one that you create inside of that self. And so you have to understand, okay, yes, I want to be in this environment, and yes, I want to surround myself with these people, but you also have to protect your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, and everything that you are made up of, because that's what God created you to be, in his likeness, in his image. But you have to understand, like, hey, I'm here to be who I am and show who I am, at the same time understanding that it takes courage to do that, and understand that some people are here just for the 4 years, and then I want to be here for the next 40.
And, in doing that, give yourself room to grow.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, this is who I am, but who you are today is not who you're going to be 12 months from now.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to grow and you're going to develop. And who you are 12 months from now is not who you're going to be whenever you get ready to walk across the stage. And when you walk across the stage, you're going to find out that it's another transition altogether.
Yeah.
You've spent 4 years learning all of this information and gaining all of this knowledge, and now it's time to go apply it. And I remember when I graduated from undergraduate school, in 1 week, I had just kind of this absolute, vacuum of emotion, because I thought, yes, I got my degree. I know it. I've got it. I'm ready. And then 7 days later, I showed up to work and I was like, I know nothing. I am absolutely ignorant of all things important in the world. And it's not that I didn't know it, but I hadn't applied it. And in many ways, what you're getting ready to do in going off to school is the same thing. You know it. You were raised in a home that you know right from wrong. You know where to be on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
You know, where is that?
Church.
Thank God. Okay. Good answer. You know what good behavior is. You know what bad behavior is. You know what enables people to succeed, and you know what causes people not to succeed. You know, it's kind of like, I remember a few weeks ago, we were sitting in your orientation, and the individual who was welcoming us to the campus was talking about how the school is really invested in your success. And one of the moms raised her hand and said, well, I had a child who came through here 2 years ago and didn't do well in that class. And what'd the guy say?
He was like, well, that's your child's fault.
Yeah, I said, that's your kid's fault. And he said,
He said, it's not hard to pass if you're showing up to class and you're prioritizing your time.
There you go. I mean, and it was just kind of like drop the mic moment, because he looked at Mommy Dearest and said, hey, you know, Junior didn't show up to class, which is why he failed that very simple course.
Yeah.
And so all that being said, you know these things. Now you're going to get to go to an environment where you get to apply them, and in applying them, find out whether or not they work for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've always been an obedient child. So you know that these things work in your home here in Texas, San Antonio. What you're going to find out is, do they work in your life away from home? And, you know, it's going to happen over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a transition from home to college. When you transition from college to after college, it's going to happen again. When you transition from your life after college to a life as someone's spouse, it's going to happen again. When you transition from somebody's spouse to being somebody's parent, it's going to happen again. And then guess what, sweetheart?
I'll get at your age.
You're going to get to halfway to 90 and you're going to be sitting here in my chair talking to your oldest about getting ready to go off to school.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen again. You know, I did this once before, except I was in your chair.
Yeah.
And now I'm in this chair. And I think I liked yours a lot better. But I want you to know that, you know, your mom and I are very proud of you. We have believed from the very beginning, the day you were born, that God had a special purpose and a calling on your life. I believe that for all of my children. But I see his hand opening doors for you and creating opportunities for you. And I'm so blessed to see you willingly take those opportunities. There are so many people that you see opportunity for them and they ignore it.
Yeah.
Rather than walk through that door that God opened, they turn away from that door and they go this way because that way has another
easier route.
It's an easier route. It's a more fun route. It's a more pleasurable route. Whatever it is, there's a reason why they don't want to go through God's path. Mm-hmm. And you have a heart to serve. You have a desire to see God's plan come to pass. And, you know, I cannot wait to celebrate all of the things that you accomplish, and really wish that it was going to be easier to drop you off, but I know for a fact you're going to do great. So parents, I'm praying for my daughter like you're praying for yours and your child who's going off to college. I want you to know they're going to be fine. And the reason they're going to be fine is because a providential and sovereign God gave them to you. You've given it your best, and now you need to let God do the rest. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us for this podcast conversation.